Good evening and welcome to Dog Talk. I'm Dan Camilleri. Firstly, I'd like to start by thanking Enduro for bringing you our fortnightly Q&A. Obviously, I'm here solo tonight. Laura's in the city doing some of her stuff she does for ag community. So good luck to Laura there. But tonight, we're fortunate enough to be speaking with Antony Mulder from Naruna.
Yep.
Did I get that right?
Yeah. Yep.
Dude, I've been sweating bullets on that all day.
A lot of people get it wrong. It's all good.
I forgot to ask until the jingle was playing. I was like, holy shit, I forgot to ask how to pronounce it. What's it mean?
Mate, it's just the first place where I got into dogs. The first place that I managed in South Australia. So
yeah, right, yeah.
I don't actually know what it means. It was just Narunda was the place that I was managing, and where I first started three sheeping and like really getting into dogs and good dogs. And so I was like, oh, well, Narunda working dogs.
Well, that's cool, but I didn't know you've been in South Australia and I didn't know you're three sheep. So we're going to learn plenty about you tonight. And while we're talking about learning plenty, if there's anyone out there that's got ChatGPT or a bit of Google Translator handy, you can start searching up what Narunda means. Yeah. Well, whereabouts are you now, mate? Where's home?
At the minute, I'm just in between Uralla and Tamworth in New South Wales. Yeah.
And you've been down here for a little bit now?
Yeah, probably 6 or 8 months. I reckon I've come back to New South Wales. Yeah.
Come back. I was going to say down, and I thought about South Australia and up. I'm like, no, I'm sure you're north before you're south. Like, kind of do that.
Yeah, I've travelled around a fair bit, so
I love it. It's all for a better chat.
Yeah. No, I've been around a little bit.
So you said come back to New South Wales. Where were you from originally?
South Australia originally, and then from South Australia went to the Territory, and then went to Queensland, then went to New South Wales, then spent a little time in Victoria, then went back to South Australia for a little bit, and then spent a long time in New South Wales, probably 6-7 years. Then went back to Queensland, come back to New South Wales.
Beautiful. So tell me a bit, like, so you said grew up in South Australia?
Yeah, was born and raised in South Australia, in the Adelaide Hills. So my parents are not from the land. My mum's a teacher and my dad's a painter. And went to school there and that, and then just didn't really fit in at all. Like, spent all my time out in the bush hunting and fishing and working on my mate's place. He had 300 acres there, which, in that kind of place, it's a decent kind of place. He had sheep and cattle, so I'd spend all my weekends out there doing whatever I could on the land.
Yeah, people talk about fishing and hunting, like, were you using claws, like, because you're going for the whole Wolverine kind of thing, or nah, I couldn't help myself.
Yeah, go for it.
So when obviously you love the land, went to school in Adelaide as well?
Yeah, in the Adelaide Hills, I went to school. Not in Adelaide itself.
So I didn't realise there was a difference. Like, so is that like just like the end of Adelaide, or is that like another suburb, like further away? Like,
no, it's out of Adelaide. Yeah, probably 30 minutes out of Adelaide. And there's kind of, well, when I grew up, there was the blocks around where I grew up were all sheep and dairy farms, and there was horses and, but
like
now,
the outskirts kind of.
Yeah, like the outskirts, like south of Adelaide towards the coast, like towards Victor Harbour and that.
Yeah, nice.
So,
nice.
it I wouldn't call it rural, but you could drive, like my old man used to take me rabbit shooting 5 minutes down the road.
Yeah, beautiful.
Like you could go and be in the blackberries and shoot rabbits and that, but now you can't. Like it's just all houses now. So
Yeah, cool. And so when you left school, mate, what was your first job or your first move?
I worked for a satellite company in Adelaide.
Satellite,
yeah, satellite communications, putting aerials together to go on motor cars for satellite phones.
Yeah.
And then I got an offer to go to the APY lands, like near Ayers Rock, to muster camels.
Yeah, right.
Through my sister who was up there.
Yeah.
And I set sail to the middle of the desert, like just south of Ayers Rock. Couldn't hardly ride a motorbike. Never mustered anything in my life. Hadn't done anything apart from, push a few really quiet sheep and cattle around on foot.
Yeah.
And jumped on a TTR 350 in the desert sand, and
yeah.
tried to ride it around. I had no idea. I'd ask old mate how to, we saw a mob of camels. There's a big mob of camels there. I said, well, how are we going to get them in the yards? He's like, just ride around them. I was like, yeah, but how do you get them to go, And he's just like, don't complicate it. Just ride at them. So I rode at him and, ended up in the middle of him, and he wasn't real happy about
that. How many times did you have to pick that bike up?
A lot. I got really good at kickstarting a bike.
Yeah, big arms.
I was in the best shape of my life, standing that heavy bike up in the sand.
Yeah,
I look like a racehorse. Like I not an ounce of fat on me.
I've got another mate that he's actually there now. He's been doing that for years, and he sometimes he sends a drone up. It's pretty wild, and pretty cool, eh?
Yeah, this was well before drones. We had a guy in a gyrocopter. He used to spot the camels for us, and we'd set sail out on these bikes and put them in set up the portal yards close to where they were, and put them in. But sometimes we got them and sometimes we didn't.
And what was the plan for the camels once you caught them?
I was working for APY Land Management, and they were selling them through Darwin on the boats. They were going overseas to like Dubai, and these Arab guys would turn up in turbans and full dresses with a scribe and a checkbook, and then just buy these camels for racing. It was crazy.
Right. That's pretty weird to say.
Yeah, it was mad. But it was like we were mustering camels, and I could see Ayers Rock. Like we were running camels past Ayers Rock. It was crazy.
Oh, that'd be pretty cool.
It was an experience, that's for sure.
And when you muster him, how big a herd size we're talking about?
The biggest mob we got was 80 in one lot, and we had actually set the portable yards up over a bit of a sand dune, so they were kind of running downhill. And we put them all together. There was 80 cattle and 80 camels, and the guy was on the UHF, and he's like, big payday, and we're all going to go on holidays after this. We ran them over the sand dune, and we had a big Hessian wing set up, and they just hit the yards and took the other side of the yards out and just kept going. It was just too much weight, and we lost all of them.
Oh wow! Did they move more like cattle or horses?
They're a completely different deal. They don't. Yeah, you can't. You got about 2 turns in them. They're a bit like Brumbies, I suppose. You got about 2 turns, and then if you haven't got them pointing in the right direction by then, they'll just start going everywhere like marbles. So,
but they'll stick together a bit more.
Yeah, in the first bit, as long as you don't harass them too much, you're kind of got to sheepdog them for a bit. But, if you turn them too much, like if you harass them too much, then they just go everywhere.
Yeah, sweet. And how long did you say you did that for?
Nearly 2 years until I had a fair.
And how old are you here? When back then, when we were talking about this?
I turned 18 out there. So
oh wow! So it's that was like a big change. So it's something totally different.
Oh, it was massive. Yeah, going from Adelaide, to that was just thought I'd landed on the moon, you know.
Yeah.
So yeah, and then that kind of I did that for a couple of years until I had a bit of an accident out there, and that kind of pulled that up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And where'd you go from that? From there?
Then I went to a station really close to there. After I recovered, to a homeland. I was living with with a family there, and they owned a big mob of land on the out from Marlborough, just south of the South Australian border,
Yep.
and territory border, and it was all clean skin cattle. They hadn't really branded anything there for years, so got another baptism of fire there with cattle work, because I'd never really worked cattle, and then just working clean skin cattle there, just catching cattle and bull catches and all that kind of thing. So threw myself in the deep end again.
You said why you recovered, so I'm assuming it was a pretty decent injury you sustained.
Yeah, a camel kicked me in the head while we were loading them.
Oh shit!
Cracked my skull and scalped me pretty much. Like this whole side of my head was hanging. This whole scalp was hanging off.
Yeah, right.
45 minutes I was knocked out for, until they drove me back to the community. Then they put me in the flying doctor's plane and flew me to Alice Springs, and I was in there for a little bit till they put everything back together, and my kind of brains were leaking out, and they stapled my scalp back on, and it was a bit of an ordeal.
Holy shit! You got the whole package. Like, you didn't just get the I want to get around Ayers Rock package. You authentic.
Yeah, no. I don't remember any of it, but apparently my hat blew off into the truck. So me being not knowing what I was doing, I reached in to get it, and this bull camel kicked me in the side of the head and scalped me and cracked my skull open. So
holy shit!
So woke up.
You said you went bull catching from there.
Yeah.
At any time, were you a bit standoffish, or did you have to ease into it? Like, how did that affect you at all coming into the next job, which is just as wild in itself?
Nah, the manager there could pick a 44-gallon drum of diesel up and put it on a cruiser on his own.
What?
So there was no standoffish with him.
Was he Bruce Banner?
I don't know. He was the strongest guy I've ever seen. He just bear hug a 44 a diesel and lean back and put it on a cruiser. So when he said to me jump, I didn't even ask how high. I just started jumping. So
yeah, right.
That was.
So you were in the vehicles with the arms?
No, we didn't. They weren't a thing back then. We're talking. This is 2002, 2003.
Yeah.
So they didn't have the arms.
Yeah.
They just had tires on a frame, and if you were lucky enough to be in a bull catcher, they just had a frame around an old Toyota with the roof cut off and a few tires on it. But I was never allowed really near them. I was just on a bike, so I just learned to throw them from a two-wheeler. Yeah, just grab them by the tail, and there was no arm and drive them to a tree. We had to pull them over, tie them up, and then someone come with a bull catcher and drag them to a tree, and then we'd put the rope on them and let them up.
Drag them up later.
Yep.
Yeah. Was it like full manual, like just running a rope around and just a couple of guys, or were you running a winch?
No, just all manual. Like
the proper hard way.
If we were lucky, the Toyota would be there, and we'd hook onto the tow ball of the Toyota and pull them up like with a rope with the Toyota. Yep. Otherwise, we'd have to get it to chase us.
Yeah, get them to chase. Yeah. You're already kicked in the head by a camel at this point. You're like, I'll just get it to chase me up.
Yeah, no, it was nothing. Like by then, it was pretty fun. Like I was 19, so I was fit and fast, and it was just great. Like it was just great fun. You just couldn't get enough of it.
And how long did you do that for?
Yeah, I was there for just nearly 2 years until I went to ag college.
Yep.
In Longreach. Yeah. So
you just thought you'd get bashed around for a few years, and now I'll go study.
Yeah. Yeah. I did it all ass about, really. I was 21 by the time I got to ag college, and that was pretty funny because a cow would snort in the yards there. They had these stud cows, like Sander cows, and all these guys from Victoria and that are used to working really quiet cattle, and an old cow would come and snort past through a gateway, and they're all jumping up the rails. I'm like, oh, this is nothing, it's not going to kill you. Like, it's all bluff. It's
fine. Yeah, right. What happened after ag? So that was back in Victoria, you said, ag college?
No, I went to Longreach Ag College.
Oh, sorry. Yep. Okay. North. Yep.
So went from the desert to Longreach Ag College.
Yep.
And spent 2 years there. I did starter course, and it's pretty hard to get in back then. So you had to do the Cert 3 just in ag, and then you could pick what you did after that. So I did the cattle course, and then I did my diploma in beef cattle at Ag College at Longreach. Probably some of the best times of my life. Yeah.
Why beef cattle?
I just like cattle. I've just been working cattle the whole time. So we had to do sheep in the start under sufferance. So I learned to shear and drench sheep and backline them and all that. But cattle was where it's at for me anyway. All I wanted to do was work cattle.
Excuse me. So you've come out of Ag College. Have you landed?
Yeah. Then they gave me a job at Ag College doing the feeding out and stuff like that for a year. And then, and then my mum got crook. So I went back to South Australia for a little bit and ran a place on Kangaroo Island.
Yeah, right.
Like a cattle place, all Angus cattle.
Yep.
That was Naroonda. That's how I got.
Yep.
So I got a job in South Australia on the mainland, and then the guy that owned it, he's like, oh, we need someone over on this Kangaroo Island off the coast. And, it was only a couple of hours from my old place, and my mum was a bit crook, so he took that job and stayed there for, it was another couple of years there. And that's when I started. I'd got a collie bitch from Queensland.
Yep.
That Jacko, he bred it out of a highlight
Tony Jackson.
Yeah, Tony Jackson. Yep. He bred it. One of his dogs out of a highlight bitch that one of the instructors had at college.
Yep.
And I'd been training her there at college because I did the dog course at Longreach Ag College. And kind of, got into dogs there, and then, took her with me. And, she was pretty handy there because it was all cattle and sheep. So, but that's where Naroonda started. That was the first place that I really oversaw. So, that was on the island there.
Yeah, that's cool. When was that roughly?
Yeah, that was 2008. I reckon that would have been 2011, 12, somewhere around there.
The reason I ask is I know I've got some mates. Was that when they were running the feral cat and rabbit project at Kangaroo Island as well?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, because I've got some mates that were over there doing that. My mate Billy was over there from NZ. He was over there with his springers at the same time. Yep. Did you cross paths with any of those other dog trainers while you were doing what you were doing with your cattle?
Not on the island, no.
Yeah.
I used to go back to the mainland and do 3 sheep. So I'd cross paths with Stephen Cross and some of those South Australian guys, Milton Cross.
Yep.
And that, but no one really on the island had dogs or those guys that were working for the council catching stuff. But no, I was just on my own.
Because you would have to have pretty good handle of your dog as well, because there were other species they were trying to protect on the island while they're trying to get rid of invasives.
The possums are thick like flies there.
Yeah.
Possums and little potoroos and wallabies and I don't know how those guys did it really. They're unreal. and now they're right up the cats now with some blue tick coon hounds and stuff.
Yep.
And now they don't, because there's just wallabies, like any bit of green grass, there'll be 50 wallabies on it. So I don't know how they, and the possums, I've never seen possums like it. They're just thick.
Yeah, that's crazy.
So
That's cool. But you mentioned that you were going back to mainland doing a bit of free sheeping. What was the attraction there? Like, had you had exposure to that prior?
Yeah, at Longreach. So Tony
Yes.
Jackson, I got to know Tony
yeah.
Jackson a bit, and he just said to me, "Oh, come and watch it." So I saw it at Longreach, and I just thought, this is the go. Like, when I watched it at the Longreach show, and that, like, I need to know how to do this. And there was a guy at college called Moose, Greg Hunt. He had some really good dogs, and he do a lot of three sheeping and bloody yard dog trials up there in Queensland, and he really got me ticking along with that.
So you're working on a cattle place, but you're into the three sheep trialing. How do you go about educating your dogs and getting ready for a trial?
Yeah, well, I only had one dog back then, so it was just old Bess, this old collie bitch, and Tony Jackson bred.
Yep.
And the guy who owned the bitch, the instructor, he just gave me her for looking after his dogs, and she was just a freak. Like, I'd drive to the mainland, I'd get on the ferry with one dog, and but I had sheep there. There was about 200 ewes there, so I got myself a little trainer mob, and I was that keen back then that I set myself up a 3 sheep course behind the house.
Yeah.
Put 3 really quiet weathers in there. And so I didn't want to go there and make a fool of myself because I'd been watching it. So I just trained and trained and trained, and I had this bitch proper screwed down, and she just did everything. Like, she was one of those freaks that if you put her on cattle, she'd bite. And if you put her on sheep, you nearly didn't see her. Like, she was that wide. She could just feel her stock.
Yep.
So I did a Greg Prince school while I was in Longreach in 2007. And she was only 5 months old then. And he just said to me, "Oh, she's worth going on with. Like, she's really trainable and that." But I didn't realize at the time what I had. And she was just that natural. She could really rate her stock. So I could work her on cattle all week. And then on Friday afternoon, before I went to the trial, I just put her on the sheep and give her a little bit of a tune up, and she was right then.
Yeah, you did mention there that just before that, like, you did a dog training school. Was that part of with the ag college, or what was?
Yeah. When I was at ag college in second year, 10 of us got chosen to do a dog school. So you got to, in second year, you could bring a pup back.
Yeah.
And they had a big set of kennels there, and one of the instructors on like Tuesday and Thursday afternoons would take us down there and show us how to train a dog. And so, it was pretty cool. You had to write a little essay and say why you wanted to do it, and your grades had to be good, and you couldn't have got in too much trouble and all that. And in second year, you could they'd choose you in first year at the end of first year, and you could bring a pup back.
Yeah.
I brought back a red and tan Kelpie dog from South Australia and set sail into that dog course.
And then left with a collie.
Hey?
And then left with a collie.
Yeah.
Was that your first exposure to working dogs like yourself there?
Yeah, that's the first time I'd ever owned working dogs, yes. That was the first time. I'd seen them around. Like that Moose one of the instructors there, he had really good dogs. And obviously Tony Jackson, once I got to know him. But yeah, that's the first time I'd ever had my own working dog, was at that dog course. So I was a blank canvas. I had no idea. I didn't understand how they say go back and these dogs would go around the sheep. It just didn't make any sense to me.
So you're on Kangaroo Island. You've done that for a couple of years. Where have you gone from there?
Yeah, and then I ended up in New South Wales near Kingstown, near Armidale, on 12,000 acres there, and it was just me and the manager. And I did a little stint actually after the island. I did a little stint in the Gulf. went up to the Gulf near Normanton and did a little stint in the contract mustering crew there, and that was pretty fun. Learned a lot there.
It's what is it? Some people just can't pick up and move. Like they just can't do it. What? Like, and it takes a bit of courage. Like, what is it that drives you to just go, oh, yeah, okay, cool, just go there? And obviously you come back south because like your mum was a bit crook, but like those other moves, like, and there's still a couple like I suppose we're going to hear about. Like what is it that you've just gone, oh well, we'll do it again? Like,
it was just opportunities. Like I met people. Say when I was at Longreach, they had a station out called Manningham Station out of Longreach, and that was like the college station. And the guy that ran that, when I was working there at the college, they'd send me out there if we had a bit to do or he needed a hand. And I got to know him really well, old Rob Young, and his son then, he's running a camp. So he told, old Rob Young told his son about me, and he just rang me up and said, oh, we've got a position in this mustering crew. Did you want to come up? And I'm like, yeah, I'd love to. You know, it was all choppers and riding horses and back to, you know, wild cattle and that. So I was like, yeah, that'd be great. You know, it's back to that. So there's just an opportunity, you know, the opportunity presented itself just from meeting people. Yeah. And I've always just grabbed those opportunities as they came, you know. Like if you get offered that, I wasn't one to stand back. Yeah. You know, at Ag College when we were breaking in bulls, we did in the cattle course, you had to break in a show bull, and, you know, they'd never had a halter on him or anything, so they just put him in the crush and put a halter on him and let him out. Yeah. And everyone else is kind of standing back, and they're like, oh, who wants to go first? And I was like, yep, me. Like, just straight away. Any opportunity like that for a bit of adrenaline or, you know, something different, or if I can learn something, I'll just grab it, like, straight away.
Yeah, that's cool. That's really cool. I think it's like a trait that a lot of people get comfortable, and it's kind of a trait, and like I suppose a mental kind of aptitude that you have to take. All right, no, let's just have a crack and try. And no, that's really cool, man. I admire that. You know, it's really cool.
Yeah.
So where you've moved off, you've gone to another place. Where have you gone? You're back in Armidale. Where are you to after that?
I stayed at that place for nearly 5 years near Armidale.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Just me and the manager there, and learned a lot about horses and dogs. And I think I had 26 dogs there at one stage, tied to logs, like log kennels. Because we weren't allowed to ride a motorbike there around stock. So it was all horses on 12,000 acres. We had to ride.
Oh, wow.
So the guy there, the manager there, he was a real horse bloke, and horses and dogs. And that's kind of why I took the job.
So I'm assuming no air support either, or very minimal. Yeah.
They didn't use. It was only 12,000 acres, so they didn't use choppers or anything. But it was great. It was great because it was right on that. You know, it was big enough you could ride out and muster a paddock without it taking you all day. But there was no motorbike. The only motorbike, there was one 4-wheeler to spray weeds, and that was it. Like there was no other motorbike on the place. Yeah. So my dogs actually got really good there because we'd ride out to the paddock and they'd be half buggered. By the time you ride out there, you know, it was proper hilly. It was really steep, granite boulders and heap of scrub. By the time you ride out there, they're, you know, a bit knocked up following the horse, and then you'd work them all day, and then you have to walk the cattle back to the yard. So, yeah, it was just unreal. I thought I was near Snowy River there for a bit. It was great.
Jim Craig. And you've mentioned 26 dogs. I'm assuming you didn't just have a team of just collies then? Was it a mixed team? Was it?
Yeah.
Like you've exploded pretty quick from like one dog to a team of dogs.
Yeah, no, I got a dog off. I got a little bitch off Joe Spicer called Brea. And so I got a few collies and a few kelpies, and then I got led down a garden path a bit about these crossbred dogs, about these cow and calf dogs they had in New South Wales, because it was all black cattle there. It was just either black baldies or Angus cows.
Yep.
And when I turned up, I didn't understand. And they all had these rough dogs, like they look like pig dogs. And I was like, oh, what are these? And they're like, oh, this is our cow and calf dogs. So these dogs were just these big box-headed things that look like come out of a pound, and they just trot along next to your horse and do nothing until one of them big Angus cows blew back, and then they just maul it, put it back in the mob, and then come back to your horse. So I ended up getting a few crossbred dogs and, catching a few pigs and using them on the cattle as well. And, I had everything, blue dogs and the whole deal.
Right. Yeah. Well, we'll get back to your dogs soon. So you've gone from a big pack like that. You're up there. Where have you? What's your next move?
Yeah, I did another manager's job then in New South Wales for about 12 months.
Yeah.
And then that wasn't really suiting me. I was running between 4 places that were kind of all 60 k's apart, so that was just too much for one man, and it was getting a bit much. So then I packed my truck and went contract mustering in Queensland. I had an old horse truck, so I just threw my horses in, dogs in, and went and camped at my mate's place just north of Charters Towers. Yep. And just worked out of there, and that was great because I just hooked in with those guys, and like Northern Queensland is just unreal for mustering and helicopters and big mobs of cattle, and it was great.
Pretty surreal place when you're actually like there, eh? Like through I suppose you always hear these stories, but then going up to like Torrens Creek, you're like, holy shit, this is what it is about. And I was scared of heights, and they threw me in the chop mustering, and I was like, got home, got the weeds out of my gutter of the shed that had been there for 11 years. I was like, heights, what? But, you've gone from like all these like management kind of roles and working on the place. How did you find you evolved like going into contracting?
Better. Heaps better. It was kind of what I started doing. Like when I was in the des and that, it was all, I was just kind of a freelance kind of guy. So that's what I always wanted to do anyway. Like I just wanted to go back. That I had to leave that camp at Normanton. And I just wanted to get back to that. Like that contract life was just where it was at for me. I just loved the people and the cattle, and you can't, when you put 1,000 cows and calves together, Brahman cows and calves, you can't just run them, like everything's got to be done properly. You got to block them up, and let the calves catch up. You can't just chase them along. So I just found those guys were more the stockman, a lot more stock, stock sense up there, because you have to, like if you put 2 choppers in the air and you've got 6 blokes around a mob of cattle, you can't just come back the next day and do it. Like things, you got to be standing up in your stirrups. You really got to be looking around and knowing what you're doing.
Did you find it a bit more peaceful coming from somewhere like where you said that place before that was, 4 places over like 60k between each one and moving around? I'm assuming that would have been a little bit hustle and bustle.
Yeah.
When you went up there, did you find it like you could just breathe a bit more and just get in a zone and just appreciate what you did a bit more, less hustle and bustle?
100%. Yeah, it was just, you knew that you were going mustering that day, and you were putting those cows in the yard to brand them the next day, and that was it. Like you could really just concentrate on what you were doing, which suited me down to the ground.
Yeah. How did your team did your team of dogs change going from what you're doing and your crossbred box head things coming up there?
Well, a lot of the Kelpies went straight away because they were too soft.
Yep.
The crossbred dogs had their place for catching, clean skin cattle and wild cattle. They still had their place, but they definitely got a lot harder, but a bit shorter. Like, because you weren't like around the New England, you were expected to muster paddocks on your own, so they had a bit of cast on them, and you had to pick up cattle and sheep from over the other side of hills and gullies and that. But what I was doing up there, you just kind of the choppers put them together, and you had a bit of a coacher mob, and your dogs just kind of worked the mob. Then you didn't need to cast them so much, so they did get a bit short and a bit harder.
Yep. Was that your introduction to cattle trialing when you moved up there as well?
Yeah. So my mate Martin Holdsworth, who I was living with, who I was camping with at the time, his mate Adam Simpson, he was doing a bit of cattle trialing. So when we had a few days, when there was a trial on it, I think the first one I went to was Rockland Springs, and I just jumped in with those guys and chucked old Bess and which I had in. And just went with 2 dogs, and they got me into cattle dog trialing in Queensland. Then those 2, yeah.
What was the hook on cattle trialing? What grabbed you?
The people were unreal, really friendly and just willing to help. But then once again, Bess was just a freak. So she was an open 3 sheep dog by the time she left South Australia.
Yep.
And then she did all right in New South Wales, but I was up against like Greg Prince and Mick Hudson and Pip Hudson and that. So yeah, you were at best going for 4th. Like I wasn't gonna at the willow tree and up 100 trial and that Greg Prince had turned up, so you knew you weren't winning.
Not with that mindset, but yeah, I understand what you're saying.
He was a wizard. He was the best. Like,
yeah,
he turned up with 3 dogs. Like he had old Snow and Timmy there, and that you weren't going to beat him. Like there's no way.
Well, we used to rock up to the game of soccer, and you're like, geez, look at their kit. Man, like we're already psyching ourselves out here, but I understand what you're saying.
But Princey, he just turned up and just run rings around everyone. Like, so, but anyway, what I meant was like she was already an open bitch, like an open 3 sheep bitch, and then she just took to cattle dog trialing. The same deal. I think the first trial I went to up there, she ran a 94 or something, and back then a 94 got you in the final. So
that's funny. It's funny you said that back then. Like these days, 98s, and you're still sometimes like, what's going on?
Oh, mate, I've lost cattle dog trials in Queensland on a 98 and a 99. So it's just crazy. But yeah, she hooked me. The people hooked me, and then Bess went really good at it, and everyone was telling me that I was going to go well. So I was already in the ribbons. So then I'm pretty competitive and I like to win. So I was like, yeah, this is the go.
Yeah, beautiful. And then, so you're in North Queensland, start making your way back south at some point?
Yeah, I did a bit of a transient thing. I did kind of an endless summer there for a few years. So I'd spend the summer fencing and mustering in the New England, and I was camped with my mate at Walker. And then when it got too cold and the work started to run out in the New England, I'd drive back up and go fencing and mustering with my mates up there.
Yeah.
And it was a pretty wild time. Like I just had an endless summer. Like I just kept on doing that round for about 3 or 4 years, I reckon. Like it was pretty cool. A lot of contracting and a lot of fencing, and I didn't have a heap of dogs then. Like I probably only had 6 or 7 dogs, but they were good because they were just tired all the time. Like they lived with me under the truck and, wherever I was going, and they just breaking in weaners and big mustering days, following a horse on them big places and big mobs of cattle. So they were really good dogs because they were just footsore and tired all the time.
Yeah. And now you're still doing like a bit of fencing and that. Are you still getting an opportunity to do a bit of stock work, like as much as you would like to?
Probably not as much as I'd like to. There is a fair bit of stock work about. Like I've been doing a fair bit of mustering. It's just fill in with the fencing when it's a bit quiet with the mustering side of things.
Yeah, beautiful. Mate, would you like to tell us a little bit about your current team of dogs?
Yeah.
Oh, you got Big Cheese on the hat there?
Yeah. I got Cheese there. He's half semi-retired now. Shadowbale Cheese he's from Adam Simpson. He picked him for me. And then he was great. Like when he was on 4 legs, he was a really good dog. He's he's probably too close. Like if you're going to be picky, he's too close to his cattle and his sheep, but he never upsets them. So I didn't worry about pushing him out.
Yep.
And then I wanted another one. So Adam did the same breeding the next year. And I said to him, I want another cheese. So I got him to pick me another pup, and he picked me another yellow and white dog pup, and he couldn't be more different. That's Croc.
Yep.
So nicknamed Croc, but Crocodile. And he is a crocodile. Like he had two broken back legs, and his ribs are all zigzagged, and he's just an absolute animal.
Yeah.
And then I got old Flick. So she's by Barky Huey out of an old bitch, Cherry Gully Jenny that I had. And she's been a really good old dog for me. She's been in the State of Origin team twice, and I think she's won 5 or 6 opens, and just a really good work dog. She's the same. She reads her stock really well. I've 3 sheep her as well. She's and she's the triple threat for me. Like she's the ultimate dog because she'll back sheep. You can fill a shearing shed with her. I was in the Hunter Valley. That's another job I had. Went to the Hunter Valley and worked on a place with sheep and cattle, and they short there twice a year. So she got really good at filling a race and filling a shearing shed. She'd back sheep, and then you take her on cows and she'd swing off a cow.
Yep.
And then I've got old Polly. She's a go-getter Polly. She's from Joe Spicer. And if you want to get 3 wild-eyed weathers off the side of a hill, like she's proper feely and soft, and she'll just pull them down, just that typical old school Kelpie, just really sneaky, totally silent, never heard her bark, and good in the paddock, not so good in the yards. Then there's old Ritz. So I bred Ritz out of Bess, the bitch I was talking about before, that was a freak, that was the 3 sheep by Brutonvale Jats.
So she was by Jats, or the pup you just bred was by Jats?
So, Bess was a Tony Jackson highlight bitch, and I put that old bitch 2 Jats.
2 Jats, yep.
And I got Ritz, and she was my main work dog for ages.
Ritz Jats, yes. Okay, got it now. Yeah.
The biscuit thing.
Yeah.
So she's still going, but she's getting a bit old now, but she was a good old work dog. She big long cast like her mother and search. Like I can send her out of sight, she'll search for stock. And then I got Big Sam, Bassier Sam, that I got given. He was bred by someone down near you, a Sheila down near you somewhere. But Jeff Ritchie ended up with her up at Armidale. Ended up with him up at Armidale.
Yep.
And I really like him. He's a massive dog with a big square head, and he's got a heap of feel for his stock. A lot of Prince blood in him, and Brayston Don and that.
Yep.
And so I put him over old Flick and got Spot.
Yep.
And I really like him. He's really straight, really good stock sense, got a really clean bite on him. Probably a bit too straight, and a bit too much presence for sheep, but really good on cattle. And then I got a pup off Stevie Elliott called Tonka, big tricolour dog.
Yeah.
Diamantina Tonka. He's probably my main dog at the minute. He's unreal. He's big, wide cast on him, like at that trial at Geary.
Yep.
The 3 sheep arena there. He just ran the fence.
Nice.
I sent him and he just ran the fence, but he landed behind the sheep. The sheep were out a bit off the fence, and he landed there, and they just piss bolted. Like, he's got way too much presence for sheep. Like, I can't 3 sheep him. Then I got Tick, who's by Digby of Dicko from Emerald, out of old Flick, the really good bitch. And she's good. She's a good trial dog. She's good on sheep. She's the same as her mother. She'll fill a race and load a truck and go up, into a B double and go all the way to the front through the load through and come back and that. And I really like. She's a fun little dog to work. She's easy to drive, never overrides you, but can do pretty much anything with her. Like, she works sheep, work goats, cattle, do anything with her. She really threw to her mother's side, so I really like her. Probably a tad on the soft side, compared to her mother. Like she's a bit of a vegetarian, but she just kind of gets in the right spot.
You got a bit of a, well, not bit, you got a massively like range in a mixed pack. Like, and it's funny like about some of your dogs and someone that's worked a lot of cattle, and you got like the 3 sheep dogs, you know, like some people go, oh no, that's no good, it's a 3 sheep dog. Like you're obviously very open-minded about the dogs and what you do. Like what do you in that kind of mind space to keep that open-minded and, you know, not just silo yourself with a particular strain or line or family of dogs?
I've got a really strict criteria that I stick to. So I don't. So if I got all my dogs out, they all work the same.
Mm-hmm.
Like they're all straight. They've got strength. They're silent, and they got a lot of feel for their stock. And I talk about a bend in their ribs. Like they've all got a bend in their ribs.
Yep.
You know, when they get around their stock.
Yeah, I know you mean.
Yeah, and they got their head turned in, watching their stock, like they're counting them.
Yeah.
And so it doesn't really matter to me whether they're a 3 sheep bred dog or a Jats bred dog or whatever they are. They've just got to work like that and rate their stock, and then I'm fine with them. Like that's my criteria. They've just got to rate their stock, have a bend in their ribs, and take my training regime, which is fairly rigid. And so they all kind of end up the same. Like Gavin Carr said to me a couple of years ago at Rocky, he said I had 8 dogs in the open trial there, and he just said it was just consistency. All he saw was consistency. He said I judged all 8 dogs, and they were all the same. They were all different colours and, you know, from different places, but they were all they're just the same type of dog, if you know what I mean.
Without getting in too much depth, like you talk about your regime that and the foundations you're putting in them to get that, like, can you touch on a bit of that without getting in like way too much depth? So I know, like, it's an open-ended question, right? We could sit here for the next 4 hours.
Yeah,
like,
that's right.
Yeah,
you kick me off on that, and we'll be here for a long time.
I'll happily do it. Like, I can talk dogs all day, and Nat's over in NZ with a mum at the moment. Kids are with their mum, so I've just got 3 dogs sitting. Mate, I could talk dogs all night.
Yeah, so I've just taken stuff from Greg Prince, Stevie Elliott, Adam Simpson, Paul Rowe. You know, I've talked to Jamie Sturrock a bit, just everyone. But there's just certain rules that I've got. Like the pups can't run around with the old dogs. I walk them on a lead. I put a really solid sit on them. Like they've got to have a sit. When I ask them to sit, they can't move. Like I don't care if the cattle run off or the sheep run off. Like it's a stop. Like it's a plowed stop. You know, it's not a stay. It's not a just be there. It's a solid like stop. So, for instance,
it's a handbrake.
Yeah, it's a handbrake. Yep, they're just glued to the ground. Yeah, until I say otherwise. So I will never ever release my pup. Let my pups move off a sit without a release. It's either a side or their name or a call. You know, they're not allowed to move off that sit until I release them, if you know what I mean. Like they're never allowed to move off that stop of their own accord.
Yep. And is that just when you're training, or is that like when they're out?
Yeah, when they're out. I expect them to do it when they're out too. Yeah.
And then that's the foundation of or basis of your foundation. Then you just grow. From there.
I just believe that without the stop, and it's just my opinion, like the stop is everything. If you can't, like you wouldn't, we've all had to do it. We've all driven cars without brakes, you know, but you wouldn't willingly jump in a motor car and drive it down the highway with no brakes. And it's the same as we've all had to ride station horses with no mouth, but it's a really, really long day. No one likes riding a horse that you can't pull up and you just end up in a tree or something. We all like riding them soft horses that are breaking their face and, you know,
I don't know. I don't know that street.
Sit in the saddle and they just
look at a neighbour's letterbox.
Yeah. You know, so I just don't see why we don't do it with the dogs. Like, you just got to have a stop. If I'm going to count, like I've done a heap of work on my own, on like just me and the dogs, like a lot, probably 80% of my work has been just me and dogs. And if you're counting 350 or 400 bullocks through a gateway and your dog just nips around the front and blocks them up and you're halfway through counting them and they're pretty waspy, you don't have the option of bringing them back. You know what I mean? So the stop for me is just everything. And the stop is the sides. The stop is to go. The stop is to come.
Yep.
The stop is just everything.
Yep. Do you find it like, obviously it's got massive advantages, but do you ever find it brings you undone, like on the odd occasion, in a particular scenario?
No, I've never had it be a problem.
Yeah. No, that's really cool. Like, because, like, you speak to people like, love this, like, I love a solid stop, but sometimes I'm a little bit lenient with just letting them to go a bit as well. But, but mostly for that, that's kind of for like yard trialing if something goes to break while I got my back turned.
Yeah.
But yeah, I totally appreciate what you're doing there as well. Like, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, as I said, it's just me. Like, it's just me. I just found that the touchier the stock are, the more control I had to have on my dogs.
Yeah.
So, like, if they're going the right way and everything's going sweet, and your dog only has to move a little tiny bit and it'll just ruin the whole show. Like, it'll just pick up the eye of that beast or just get in the wrong spot. And then you've blown a massive mob. Like, using lambs or another thing. Like, you mess up a mob of using lambs just because your dogs are out of control. You can't mother them back up. Like, that's it. You're done for the day.
So that comes down to a bit of stockmanship as well, where you've got a natural feel through a lot of your experience as well, where you can just like have that dog off that flight zone, just that little bit, and pressure relieved, and where you can get away with that rather than have something that's pushy and you got to be fighting it and whatnot. And I was just going to ask then, like, that three sheeps kind of stuff you've got in your collie dogs over the cattle kind of, what we would call cattle stuff here. Do you find that gives you that little bit of ability to work with the way you like to handle dog?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, because it's just that sharpness in them.
Getting them up in the mind that little bit to want to be working with you.
Yeah, definitely. They're responsive to like the slightest bit of pressure. So my thing is like the minimal amount of pressure to get the maximum result out of a dog.
Yep.
So I want to be able to put like a tiny bit of pressure on to be able to train them to get what I want out of them. And just with that three sheep stuff, they're just a bit sharper and a bit, like you said, they're a bit more sensitive than some of the cattle lines, I find. Yep. And it just gives them the little bit, you can tweak them a little bit more.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Gee, someone just lit up in the kennel over there. That sounds like a German Shepherd, that one. Neighbours must have upset him.
Yeah, dog, sure.
No, all her dogs are asleep here. The princesses they sleep on their bed right next to me. All her shepherds. It's really interesting. I really love that. And even like you look back at a lot of what we talk about, like hard cattle dogs from Australian lines. A lot of them come from those three sheep lines. If you go back far enough, anyway, right? They're just selective breeding as well.
Princess Clyde, Princess Dubbo, all that stuff's in a lot of good cattle dogs in Australia. Like it was back when I first started cattle trialing, all of that stuff was close up in the front, they were still right there. But it's fair long in the background now. But like Wandara died and Princess Clyde, like that was a really good cross for a cattle dog. They had the feel and they had a bit of grunt, but not too pushy and not too arrogant. It was that's in most of the good cattle dogs in Australia.
Absolutely. Do you find that with having been so strict on your stop and having such a good stop, when it comes to teaching sides, you get a little bit more clarity in your dogs because they're calmer, just they know how to shut down, and you've got that cohesion rather than have that dog that's a bit valve bouncy and his brain cells are doing this and there's no clarity in anything it does. It helps you later on.
I just find it's a reset button.
Yeah.
So when you've got a really, really solid stop, for me anyway, you can set yourself up wherever you want to be to give that dog the option to only go that way. So I find it that the sides become really, really crisp because if he just stops, you can see their brain reset and they go, I see what, and you can position yourself to a different spot and just set it up perfectly. Whereas if they're going to move off their sit and they're going to go, I'll just go over here for a second. Where you're like, oh, well, you've already gone that way now, so it's buggered. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, absolutely. Do you try, because you are so strict on your stop, have you tried to put, or have you toyed with or thought or do putting another kind of stop on your dog to then that allows them to shift by themselves, other than your sit?
No, I haven't, because and the reason is when they're working, they can do whatever they can do what they want when they're working. Like when I put them in a position, if something breaks, they can go and do whatever they want. But when I say sit, I just want them to stop and not do anything. So the stop is just a stop. And then when they're 400 or 500 meters away over a gully over the hill and they're doing their own thing, they can do whatever they want. Like if they think it's a good idea, then do it. You know what I mean? So
100%.
I didn't put a steady on them. I don't put a stay or anything. I just find it, because I'm a bit on the spectrum, I just keep it really black and white. So if I say sit, it's a sit and a stop.
Yeah.
And then when you're working, like, because I've been so strict on my criteria with style and straightness, and they just pick up a position and hold the weight. They read it. They read the stock anyway, so I don't need to put a steady on them or anything. They just kind of feel the weight and be where I'll set them up. I set them up where I want them, and then I can leave them there and it's fine. Like they don't need me to talk to them.
Yeah, 100%. I'm like you, like that. Like when I say I come back from bloody where did I go? Where's Sean? Norway, and I come back and I change all my downs to decks. I just love that I use deck there. So, but when I say deck, I mean hit the deck. But I've been toying with probably the last 6 months. Been teaching my dogs to stand.
Yep.
And I just use a short, sharp, or a stand, and then from there I'll let them it's like a breather. Just stop for a second, and I can let you rate again.
Yep.
But when I ask for deck, like I want you, I'm like you. I want your guts on the ground and just chill out. Like for me, it's just just wheel up, take a breath, bit of square breathing for me and the dog, and then we can move on again.
Yeah.
That really love it. Like, actually, where I want to lead into with that was because you're doing a few schools as well. How someone that loves change, how did you go jumping into your first school, and then how have you evolved after teaching schools?
I love it because I do a lot of training on my own.
Yep.
By myself. So the schools keep me accountable for what I'm saying. So if I say, oh, you've got to do this, then someone will go, oh, well, why? And I'll have to explain myself. So I really like that aspect of it. The first school I did, I was shitting myself.
Yeah.
Because 14 people turned up and they're looking at me. And I'm like, right, well, now I've got to prove that I can do this.
Yeah. Dogs, please hold your sits today. Please stay there.
That's right. Don't jump off the buggy. You're going to call one name. Just everyone be cool. So, but no, as I said, it keeps me accountable, but I also just think if I can stop, because I did the whole chase them around with a rake and, work young dogs with old dogs. And I've made all the mistakes that you could make. So I just thought, and it's my passion, it's probably what I think about the most. So I just thought if I can help people and then not make the same mistakes I did, it's going to help everyone. It's going to make better dogs, and people are going to have more fun with their dogs, and, dogs are going to help them out more. So that's the kind of angle that I work from. And I just thought I've made a lot of mistakes, and if I can stop other people making the same mistakes I did, it'll help the dog industry and help people work their dogs more efficiently.
Yeah. No, absolutely, mate. And you're not afraid to get around with those schools either, like all over the East Coast.
Yeah, no, I don't mind travelling about. So probably I've got a bit more of a following in Queensland because I was there for a fair while. And I got a few people up there. Getting you New South Welshmen to take on a bit of different stuff is a bit challenging, but I'm going to break you guys soon. I'll get through to you.
Yeah, no, I understand what you mean by that. Like, some people get set in their ways. There's some of us that are very open-minded. Like, you mentioned before about one of your dogs being a thug. Get around a bit. Like, I've got, I can't remember what you said his name was, but I've got Sting because he stings. Like Croc. That was all right.
Yeah.
And I got disqualified again this weekend. Like 3 full yard trials this year, disqualified 3 times. Getting around most of the open courses. No, got disqualified another open as well. But like, where was I going with that? I
don't know.
So I talked to a couple of people yesterday, like stockies, and we're talking about like if I squash him a bit, or maybe I'll lose that strength when it comes to working cattle or goats. And funnily enough, you mentioned a golden collar earlier. When I was preparing for that, he was 2.5, just over 2.5, and he just started to mature up a bit, and we started working cattle. And that nice big wide cutting dog I had, all of a sudden got this shot of confidence, and he started to narrow up.
Yeah.
And he just wants to fight. Like, he'd never had the bite. He had a little bit of bite, but not like he has now.
Yeah.
All right. So speak to a few people, come back this weekend. I'm like, mate, this dog either has to go or something has to drastically change.
Yeah.
And speaking with a few stockies in New South Wales, and they're like, mate, like, you can accept him for what he is, or you're going to get on him, but you're going to take that strength out, you know? Like, you're not going to move cattle. You're not going to work goats. But then I got to start to thinking, and this is what I'm talking about, being open-minded. And I'm like, but I can train a Malinois to bite an arm and not bite a gut, and not to bite a leg. But now we're not biting arms, now we're biting legs. So I'm like, why can't I try? And what this is, I've already tried it. I started it yesterday, and I've done a bit more of it today. Like, start targeting where he can bite and where he can't bite, and when I do want him to bite and when I don't want him to bite. And I'll just use him as a bit of my experiment because he's a really smart dog. Like, he's really clever. But I'm like, I'm going to try and use some of the stuff I've learned in the protection world on this dog now. Like, and that's what I mean, like, about the open-mindedness. Like, and I know, like, some doing it for their particular way for so long. So I understand when you mean break people down. Like, you know, it is. And I think even within, not even just within other stockmen and taking on their way, but other disciplines, I think we've got something to learn from everywhere, you know?
Yeah, 100%. And I've got stuff from the greyhound people, and I watch a lot of gun dog stuff, like Labradors and Springer Spaniels, and, you know, the trainers over in the UK training them, and I've picked up stuff from them, and even dogs, you know, drug smelling dogs and that. You know, you take everything. I've taken a lot from everywhere, you know, because they've all got good. It's all just relative training. You know, they only, like the sniffer dogs only sniff. They don't sniff the drugs. They don't care about the drugs.
It's just a target.
They just care about the toy in the old mate's pocket that they get it afterwards. So they just relate the smell of the drugs to the toy.
100%. You find that, and that gets you that. Like,
exactly.
It's just a target. It's just a target you can't see. It's just an odor. Like, 100%.
That's just what I do with the sheep. Like, the trainer sheep are their toy. So if you do what I want, if you behave how I want, then you get the sheep. You know, it's just that's it. Like, that's their toy. That's their ice cream. That's their crack cocaine. You know, like, this is the best thing in the world. But
I use all those words myself. Yeah.
You know, you just make it so that it's firm. You know, like Princey always used to say, it's firm but fair. So they get what they want, but I've got to get what I want. So it's, you know, if you give me what I want, then you get what you want. As I'm talking about the dog, and that's, you know, it's just easy then. It's just 100%. That simple.
I often I talk to people about, like, do you play with the ball with your dog? And they're like, yep. I said, well, what do you do when the dog's not listening? If you lay out obedience into your play, like, sit, yes, you get the ball. If they don't sit, you give them the ball. They know, what do you do? They go, I'll put it in my pocket. I go, cool. Yeah. So when the dog's not doing what you want on sheep, put the sheep in your pocket. Get between the dog and the ball, the dog and the sheep, and just go, no.
Yeah.
You know, like, straight exactly what you said there. Like, if you want them, you've got to do that thing.
Yeah.
And that's just reinforcement, right? That's like, and I love something you said earlier, like, why keep applying pressure? Like, if you have to, like, just apply a bit of pressure or as much pressure as you need. Like,
Yeah.
Dogs don't learn from punishment, right, or discipline. They learn from the release of it, from the reward.
Yeah,
So
100%. And I'd rather put the smallest amount of pressure possible to get what I want.
yeah,
Because you know yourself, if someone's yelling at you, and I've had some really terrible bosses, like I shouldn't even be in this industry. Like bosses have put a heap of pressure on me, especially when I was young and I didn't know anything, and they'd just yell and scream and chase me and, be up here on a motorbike or chasing you with a whip on a horse. And I didn't learn anything that day. I was just scared. Like I was just terrified.
shut down, right?
I just shut off. Like everything would just shut. You just go into survival mode, and that's exactly what happens with dogs. See, and then when I got around some other people that were a bit softer with me, and they go, "Oh, just have a look here, and do this," and then you'd actually learn then, and that's where I kind of get it from. Because I've had some really hard bosses, and I've had some really good bosses that were willing to put time into me. I just think, well, dogs are the same. If I can put the lightest amount of pressure on them and get what I want, and they get the release from that light pressure, they learn it heaps quicker than me chasing them with a rake or, cracking a whip at them or, that kind of thing. So,
those bosses that did apply that pressure, what was your mindset like in the survival mode? But how did your attitude shift to them?
well, I just didn't want to do anything for them then.
Yeah.
You just turned up at the shed and stood there until you got told what to do, and then you did that, and you were just too scared to do anything. Like you were too scared. I was too scared to look,
Twitching.
try anything, or I'm just sitting on my horse shaking. I can remember fueling up a motorbike several times, just spewing, spewing while I was fueling up my motorbike because I knew they were going to scream at me all day. So you just, and then you were useless then because you were all clunky because you were just too scared of doing the wrong thing, so you just did nothing.
Yeah.
But then you did the bare minimum because you were too scared to step out of the box, and then they scream at you for that. So you just end up, I was just scared the whole time.
Yep.
And you just shut down.
I love your approach to educating a canine, mate. It's very similar. I love that approach. So that's
personal experience, and as I said before, I've done the bad way. Like I chased them around with rakes and put pups off work from putting way too much pressure on them and get them tail turning and that in the round yard, and you just think, I've just ruined that now. And then you get around a few other people, and Stevie Elliott really opened up my eyes to it because he's in a wheelchair and his dogs were better than mine. So I just went, well, I have to know how you do that now. Like I went to him, he came to Charters Towers to a trial there. We had the first trial we had at Fletcherview where Martin lives, and he stayed for a couple of days and we just worked some pups and that. And his dogs were just so crisp and so on point. And I'm like, this guy can't stand up. Like he can't chase them down. And so I just went to him and said, mate, can you just teach me what you know? Like I just hung off him like a tick because that was just so amazing. And he's the same. Like he just gets in their head. His timing's impeccable. Field timing and balance is just what it's about, And he just taught, he opened my eyes to that kind of thing where you just like, you've got to set them up for a win. You've got to set them up so that that's the only option they've got. And because he's got no other option,
And the people listening back there, you're not saying go throw your rakes away. It's about the way you use your tool, right?
100%. 100%. I'm not saying that
the tool being the rake. Let's clarify that. The way you use your rake. Yeah.
Use the stick or whatever you want to use. It's just if you can use it minimally to get what you want, that's the way to go about it, I think. And I'm not saying I'm right. And like I said before, I just like a really, really solid stop. I'm not saying everyone's got to have that. Like I've seen, Princey had a stand. I've seen Big Hudson's got a stand on their dogs. A stand and they can move and whatever. And I'm not saying that's great. If you can train that, go for your life.
It's what suits you.
Yeah, it's just what suits me. Like I'm just too black and white. So that's fine. Like everyone's got their own way of doing it. And as I say to everyone when I got the schools, if you're doing something that works for you, I'm not going to tell you not to do it. Like my way is not gospel. It's just what works for me. And that's what I like. And it's worked for me now for 20 years. So I'm just going to keep doing that.
Yeah, 100%, mate. Talking of your schools, you have some coming up. Do you want to give them a plug?
Yeah, I got a school in the 18th and 19th of April at just out of Armidale. Which should be really good. And then I got another one on the the weekend after Rocky, so it's the 8th and 9th of May at Charters, just out of Charters Towers.
Yeah, beautiful.
But that one's nearly full. Like that filled up. I put that up a month ago, and it nearly filled up straight away. So yeah, it was good.
And nice spot up there. I love the big arena they got at Charters that way. That's real cool.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
I'd actually love to get up there and take a couple of dogs and do a north run one day. Do a couple of cattle trials. It's there's some beautiful places up there. It's really cool.
There's some great trials up there. Or Lake Elphinstone, if you ever get to there.
Yep.
Darren Gillum and his wife there, Sandra, they run one of the best trials in Australia. Yep. And that's not just because I've done well there. The cattle are unreal. The steading's unreal. They do a great job. The catering, the camping. Like he puts 1,000, there's 5,000 or 6,000 litre shuttles up on pallets that he puts around the paddock, around the camping ground. So you've got, water everywhere.
Wow.
It's just great. Like the way he sets it up is just unreal.
That's pretty cool. Mate, excuse me. While we're talking about trialing, what is it that keeps you on the hook?
Just winning. I just like to win. Which has been a real it's really brought me back down to earth coming to New South Wales, because there's some really good hands.
You made a comment this morning based on that.
Yeah. But it's great. I'm really competitive. Like I've got a competitive nature, and I like to do well, and I just like to take my dogs out and see what they can do. But it's just the competitive. I'm really competitive. Everything, all my mates and that, everything we do, like if we're branding calves or we're putting in fence posts, who can do it the quickest and who can do it the best, and I'm just in that. Everything's competition. Everything you do is a competition.
Have you got siblings?
I got one sister.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Was it competitive growing up?
Nah, not at all. But
not at all. So that's something that's come in later in life where that streak's just.
Yeah. Just played a lot of sport when I was in school. Yeah. And I like to win. And then especially those camps up north, like it's changed now, but I love being in those big camps up north, like the stock camps. And some of the places had like a double cradle. They had a race with 2 cradles on the end. So you'd let the first calf through, catch it. Then the next calf, so you had 2 cradles on the ground at the one time.
Yeah.
And so it was just a race. Who could do the calf the quickest and let it out?
Yeah.
And then, when you're fencing, it's just who can put the most steel pickets in, who could change the bearings on the truck the quickest. You do the bearings on either side of a truck, and who could do it the quickest. Everything was, who could ride the roughest horses, who could catch the most bulls for the day. Everything was just a massive thing. We had 6 or 10 people in the camp. Everything was a competition.
Are your jobs quoted or per hour? Because otherwise your bosses would be loving you to pay them by the hour.
Yeah. I've really done myself a mischief sometimes. Especially a few fencing jobs I've done on an hourly rate, and they're like, "What are you doing?" Like they're like, "You fenced yourself out of a job." I'm like, "Oh, yeah, okay, cool." Like you just got to go with it. Yeah. I actually had a guy in Walker years ago tell me that. He's like, "You're going to fence yourself out of a job if you keep going like this." I'm like, "Well, I don't know any other way to work, so it just is what it is."
Yeah, cool. Like we spoke about, obviously Newcastle, New South Wales, and Queensland. Like, how much are you still traveling for your trialing?
Yeah, I'll go back to Queensland, especially for the Australian championships, the Queensland championships and stuff, and just do my favourites up there. So probably 4 a year I'll do up there.
Yep. Yeah, nice. And have you got I'm sure you have. What's your have you got a memory or an achievement that you're really proud of?
Yeah, there's 2. If I can have 2.
That's all right. That's all right. You can have 3. Go for it. Right. 4. Give me how many you want.
So the first futurity I won with Flick, 2019, the Queensland futurity. Yep. That was a massive thing for me because it was a young dog, and I bred her, so I got the breeders' plate as well.
Oh, nice.
and trained her, and then took her to the futurity and just smashed it. And that to me was a massive achievement for me, because it was like she was only 14 or 15 months old or something when I won that, and I was really proud of that. And then 2022, I went to the Australian Championships at Toogoolawah, and there was 240 dogs in the novice, like the maiden novice there at the Australian Championships.
You guys get ridiculous numbers at cattle trials. Like,
Yeah.
getting on a couple at the back end of last year, I couldn't believe the numbers.
Yeah, it was massive. Like, we were trialing well into the night. And I won the novice there at the Australian Championships with Cheese. And I beat, 239 dogs. So that was a massive thing for me.
That was the novice, you said?
Yeah, the novice.
Yep.
Yep. And like, I would have loved to win the Open and that, but just there was that many dogs in it to beat over 200 dogs in a 3-round, at a championship. So you had to put 3 scores together. That was a really big achievement for me. Like, I was really happy with that. And then when Cheese lost his leg,
can we talk about that?
Yeah.
How did he lose his leg?
It's not even a good yarn. Like, I wish he got horned by a bull or, jumped on or anything. My dog trailer, they live in my dog trailer all the time. Like, it's got automatic watering system in it. It's got rubber, like holy rubber mats on the floor, but I've got it blanked off in between the cages.
Yep.
So it's not mesh, it's tin. Like, it's two.
So they can't see each other. And
they're not seeing each other.
Yeah.
And somehow he got his foot underneath that bit of gow tin and socked his foot. So there was no coming back from that. And it touches the floor. So somehow he got it's not even a good yarn. Like, he just got it under there.
Yeah, just one of those things.
It's just a freak accident. And he'd been living in that, they don't live in it. They're only in there at night. And I just put him in there and went to town for a bit and then came back, and his foot was stuck under there and they couldn't save it. So they chopped his leg off. Like, they said, you can either put him down or chop his leg off. And I said, just take his leg and I'll have the rest of him.
Yeah. And then the achievement after that was that you were going to mention?
Yeah. So he spent ages obviously in the house yard, and I thought, he'll never work again, like, he'll never do anything. And then he was just going mad in the house yard where I was living and running up and down the fence when I was training the other dogs. And I'm like, righto, bugger it, you can come and do a little bit. And then I took him to Lake Elphinstone last year and won the Open with him there. And there was 140 dogs in the Open.
Yeah, wow.
So awesome. I was really happy with that. Like, and he won it, it wasn't, he got really good cattle and we just didn't bugger it up. Like, he's just got that much feel for his stock and he doesn't upset him. He just gets along with them. So we just smashed that out. It was great.
Why Cheese?
The guy that picked him up for me from Adams, he got picked up in Emerald and brought out to me. And the old bloke who picked him up for me, he rang me and he said, "I got this pup for you." And he goes, "He's yellow like cheese. He's the colour of cheese." And I went, "Oh, well, that's Cheese then. That's his name."
Yeah. Cool. You mentioned Lake Elphinstone there. What's your favourite trial to have a crack at?
Yeah, it's either Lake Elphinstone or the Charters Towers one.
Yeah.
Lake Elphinstone, the people are great, and the cattle. I really like the cattle. They're big cattle. Like, Darren's got massive crossbred weaners. But if your dog's doing the right thing, you get rewarded for it. But if you've got a gutless dog or a dog that's not listening to you and smacks them too much, then, you get rewarded for that in the same way. Like, if you upset the cattle there, it's no good. But if you just treat them right, because he does a really good job of breaking them in, and they're big cattle, then, the good dogs there just who do the right thing and treat the cattle well, they're the ones that shine.
Yeah.
Like, you can't turn up there with a half-baked dog and go okay, because the cattle they just won't cop it,
Yeah.
Yeah. If your dog's doing the right thing there, you'll get rewarded for it. And same at Charters Towers. Martin does a really good job with his cattle, are probably the quietest Brahman cattle I've ever seen, and really well educated. So by the end of the trial, you have to get a 98 or something to get in the final. Like, it's millimeters. You've got to be so precise with it. It's just great.
Mate, when did that standard of trialing like really lift to like? I got to a couple of cattle trials last year, and I was like running like 89s, 90, 92s. And I was like, oh, sweet. Man, I was nowhere near the pace. Like,
Yeah.
I was like, whoa, like so far off. Like, where and why do you think that standard just went?
Yeah, that's really interesting because when I first started, a 94 would get you you were high up in the finals.
Yeah.
Like 2017, 17, 18. I reckon 5 or 6 years ago, especially in Queensland, they put a heap of effort into their cattle. Like, they started to really break the cattle in for the trial and break them down into smaller mobs and get them, proper good with a man and a dog.
Yep.
And then some of these young blokes are coming through now and they're just getting a really good handle on their dogs. Like, they are getting them screwed down proper.
Yeah.
The handlers, the cattle are better, the cattle are quieter, and the handlers, the quality of handlers is getting better, and the people are getting more handle on their dog. If you know, like, their dogs are a lot more under control, but they have to be for the type of cattle,
So there's more people with a higher quality of dogs.
Yeah, correct.
As well. Yeah.
Yeah.
For someone that's been around doing it for a while, I think you mentioned like 20 odd years cattle trialing now.
Yeah.
How did those people? How did they influence the way you trial, or even the way you handle a dog, or did it?
Wanting to be in the top, like wanting to be in the finals. Like, I was watching the Jamie Sturrocks and the Paul Rose and and Adam Simpson and those top fellas there. They would have 2 or 3 dogs in the final.
Yep.
And I want to be like that. And you just see them, and they would be working the cattle, not the dog. Yep. So they're just watching the cattle. And when they said left or right or stop or in or out, their dogs just did it. If you know what I mean. They're not looking for where their dog is. They're just watching the stock and working the stock, and their dog just did what they said. And I wanted that. I just went, that's what I want. Yeah.
Had the same conversation at a sheepdog yard trial the other day. Like, just talking to a friend, just like, stop watching your dog. Like, just watch the sheep. The sheep will tell you where the dog needs to be. And if the sheep are moving, like looking away, and then looking at making ground there, well, the dog's not where it should be. So help it. Like, totally get that. And I think that comes back to a lot of the feel that we've been talking tonight as well.
Yeah. And just having that sharpness on your dog, that when you say stop, it stops. Like, it's not taking the 3 or 4 extra steps to get to the eye of that beast, or like in the sheep, 3 sheep really taught me that. I was watching those good fellas, and it's millimeters, they have to stop and they have to back out, and they have to be, when you say left or right, they have to go and not shave them either. Like, I'm not talking go and take the head off them. Like, just go left. I mean, go left and get out off them,
Yeah.
So, just having that, being able to read the stock and being able to work your dog under control, like proper under control. That's what I'm really looking for,
Yeah, nice. Mate, is there an achievement or something that you would love to take out?
Yeah, I'd love to win the Open Australian Championships one day.
Yeah.
In the cattle dog trialing. And now, obviously, I've been seeing these blokes down here and be able to go to something like Geary or Blaney and be able to work the same dog in the yard and on 3 sheep, and then take it in the cattle as well and do that. Like, that's just the ultimate really for me.
That actually, you mentioned Geary. Was that the first time you'd competed in something like that before?
Yeah.
It's pretty cool, to be part of something like that.
Yeah. No, it's a really great concept. Those 2 trials the Geary's great. Like that, being able to have that triple thing where you can put the same dog in the yard and then take it out and do a 3 sheep and do cattle with it as well. Like, I'm not there yet. Like, my dogs don't work the yard good enough, and got too much presence for 3 sheep, but that's my goal. Is I want to be able to get them so you can push them out enough and they got enough feel to be able to work 3 sheep. Then and you guys do it. The guys in New South Wales do it.
Yep. But then I'm sure, mate, we come up north and struggle in what you guys do, right? And then we get better at that.
Yeah, that's right. Yep. And working Angus cattle is completely different to working Brahman cattle or crossbred cattle. So to be able to do everything, it's horses for courses, obviously.
100%. Look, I come back from Geary, and then I did a couple of cattle trials. I want to start getting into cattle trials. She goes, well, let's move to Queensland. And I was like, well, it's not that easy for me. But like it's like you said, like you get a taste of it, you're like, I want more of it. Like it's just it's really cool. Yeah,
it just drives you. Well, it does for me anyway, like that. Then you go through these stages, I reckon, with your dogs where, I wanted a really good sit and I wanted a cleaner break, like a square break on my dogs for their cast, get them breaking square. And I got that. And then I saw these people backing them up and I'm like, oh, well, then I want to back up on them. and then I see people, backing sheep with them, putting them in a race. So I'm like, well, now I need that now. So I'll just keep on moving the goalposts and you're like, oh, well, then you do well at a cattle trial. So you're like, oh, I want to do more cattle trials. So it fuels me. That's the thing. Like every time I get a taste for something else or I see something else, it just drives me to get that.
Oh, I get it, man, because I've got a sickness, like dogs are my sickness. Like I just think dogs all the time. And I'm like, I'm like, I want to do that and I want to do this. And like, Nat just checks out now. She's like, oh, whatever. Like, because I'm just one of those people as well. And then you're always thinking like, okay, how do I do that? And actually that said, you want to achieve down those roads for like the all round kind of stuff. Do you think you have to change your team a little bit, or do you think you can do that with what you have? You just have to educate it different?
Yeah. They just got to get better at. There's a few things that I've got to tweak, especially yard work. Like I've got to get around some people that can just teach me how to get my dogs better in the yards, like especially backing, get that flawless, because there's an art to that I've seen. Like I've always been around, I've been in shearing sheds. Like I shore for a little bit, and I've been in shearing sheds a lot. And there's a big difference to a shed dog to a dog that's backing and filling a race really efficiently. So it's like everything. Like when I wanted to learn to shoe horses, I went and shot 11 horses with a racing, like at a racetrack with a farrier there, because that's completely different to learning from old Joe just on the station, And when I wanted to learn fencing, I went with a fencing contractor and put up, 40 Ks in 2 weeks or 20 Ks in 2 weeks, So there's the proper way to do it, and then there's just someone's way of doing it. And I just haven't got that yard work stuff right yet, So I've got to learn that. And, the 3 sheep stuff, going to a few 3 sheeps now, the dogs are, a lot different to what I remember back in the day. Like back 10 years ago, they're a different type of dog. So you just got to have a lot more out on them.
Yeah. Even then, like the scores in 3 sheep, like if you're not running 96s and up at most trials now, like, you can go there proud as punch, walk out with like a high 80 or a 90 and like, and you're just like, that's but I'm still going to be watching the finals from here. Like,
that's right. Yep. Yeah, you'll be watching the finals from grandstands.
Yeah, and it's the same with yard trial. I think it's across the board, like the level of trialing. It doesn't matter what the discipline is. There's some real specialists in all of them now that they're really committed to their sport and their dogs, and like that's awesome. It's great to see. And if anything, it probably something like people like you and me can take more away from that, because we're open-minded to go and approach those people, go like, show me, like, argue me, like, teach me.
Yeah. No, I'm not against learning. I've been mucking around with a young dog. I've got a little 5-month-old pup at the moment. I've done a few different things with him, just trying to get that, just testing different things out and picking up ideas from people like Milo and that, just different stuff, so that, you never, if you just closed off to it, like I said before, my way is not the only way. Like I'm not saying my way's gospel. So I'm always picking, like, I'll go to a trial and I'll see someone do something, I'll go and pick their brain,
Yeah.
and pick someone else's brain. If I can pick up something that's going to make me better, I'll take it on. Like, I'll change for that. And if it doesn't work for me, then I won't use it. But you just got to be open to it. That's all I reckon.
100%. I think you nailed that before when you mentioned the gun dog stuff. Like, I've picked up so much from. Well, that's why I went and bought Springer Spaniels, Golden Labrador Retrievers, Malinois, to try and do all these different stuff to learn.
Yep.
Like, and you nailed that earlier when you talked about the gun dog stuff. Like, there's so much to learn from everything.
Well, those Spaniels, they just high drive. Like,
man,
off their head. If you can get that dog to sit and quarter, and flush stuff on a single whistle, I'm like, that is the most driven dog I've ever seen. So I need to know how they get that dog under control.
I think you mentioned the word cracker.
Yeah.
Like, my Springer Spaniel, English Springer, he is a cracker. And he'll bite a bite pillow like a Malinois and hold on and shake. Like, he's just lunatic. Lots of imported stuff behind him. I'm a pedigree pervert at the best of times, but now getting into all these different pedigrees in different breeds as well, like, and seeing what's behind. But man, these Springers, like, and the Cockers as well, another level. Like, I never thought I'd have one of them in my camp. I suppose that's why Paul Enduro calls me Noah. So yeah.
But it's
mate,
just, like, that's the kind of dog I want, is a high drive dog. I think you can teach them so much. Like, when they've got so much desire and so high drive, that's when you can actually teach them to do whatever you want. Yeah. Because they just relate that. Like I said before, if they get what they want, they'll just do whatever you want to get that. So I'm just like, oh, that's the type of dog I want. I don't want a little doughy bugger that, you can't teach them anything. If they're slow in their mannerisms, they're going to do everything slow. They're going to stop slow. They're going to go slow. But if they're fast and they've got desire, you can just teach them to do whatever you want.
Absolutely. Mate, what advice would you give someone out there about purchasing a pup? Like, how someone that has a different array of dogs yourself but make them very similar, what advice would you give someone, whether it's a young person coming into the industry or someone that wants to get into a bit of trialing? What advice would you give them?
Yeah, find someone that you like their dogs, like you like how they work their dogs, and go and spend time with them. Like, go and do their jobs for free. Like, say, I'll clean your car, or, I'll feed your stock for you. Or you just get around someone that you like. So you'll see someone you're like, oh, I really like what they do and how they get about. Just go and spend time with them. Like, get as much as you can out of them, and then get a pup and see how they, like, get a pup of that genetics. Definitely a bred dog, not just a pup from down the road who's out of old mate's bitch by this good old dog I had. Like, get a dog with a pedigree, and then find someone that you like how they do it and spend time with them.
Yeah, great advice, mate.
And just shut your mouth and open your ears.
Yeah.
Like, don't tell them. You just be there, and they just listen to everything they say. Like, I'm not saying be it gospel, but you're not listening when your mouth's open. So,
someone I was talking earlier in the week with someone as well, and they're talking about running their own dog schools, and they said some advice they give is, while this is moving, these aren't working. Like, just keep it quiet. I'll trick her a bit to say, then I think she was backing sheep in her sleep. Then I don't know if you can hear her, she started barking there. Like, quiet.
Is that a little dream?
Yeah, she is. She doesn't do a lot anymore. But well, actually, Haley took her to a trial on the weekend. She's probably dreaming she's still trialing now. Mate, that's awesome advice. Great advice. And like, I know a lot of people like these days are like, oh, I'm not doing that for nothing, but it's an investment. Like, if you're prepared to go and hang out with someone and help them and not expect something for it, it's an investment in yourself and your future. So I really love that advice you gave there, mate. It was pretty cool.
Yeah, that's what I was so hungry to learn, because I didn't come from like a rural background. As I said, my parents are a painter and a teacher. So anyone that was willing to teach me anything, I'd just go and work for them for free. I'd just go, I'll do it. And they ended up paying you anyway. Like once you'd done a few days for them, they're like, and you had a heap of go on you, and they just end up giving you a few bucks. But like I said, when I wanted to go and learn how to shoe a horse, I found a farrier that was doing my auntie's horses, and I said, "Oh, can I come with you tomorrow? You don't have to pay me, and I just I'll help you, And then when I wanted to learn to rope, this old rodeo bloke that my dad knew, I just said, "I'll come and work on your place. If in the afternoons we can throw a few loops and that." He's like, "Yep, no worries." And you're just there to learn. Like I wasn't there to tell them or anything. I just wanted to learn what they knew, and the only way I knew to do that was just to hang around them. And those old blokes, like especially doing stock work, they hated it when the young blokes were flapping their gums. So, and I'm a quiet person anyway. Like I'm an introvert, so I just kind of, and after my experiences, I just knew if you're really quiet, you didn't get chased. So I just was quiet and just doing my job and shutting my mouth. And all of a sudden, they're teaching me stuff. You'd be on the tail, and this old bloke would be like, "Oh, you see that cow there? She could cause you problems." Or know your tail. I used to say, know your tail of your cattle. Where's that? Where's that roan cow? Where's that horny cow? Where's that calf gone? What calf does that belong to?
Yeah.
And just because I was quiet and I was just doing my job, they'd just slowly teach me stuff. But the guy that was there talking all the time, that was telling him how good he was, they just gave him no mind at all. Like they didn't give him any advice, nothing. They taught him nothing. Yeah. So that was just how I got about. And the only good bit of advice I got told before I went away, especially up north, was shut your mouth and open your ears.
Yeah.
Said just do that, and you and don't ever say to anyone that you can ride a horse. Don't tell them you can ride a horse. That was the other thing they told me. Just
Mate, I was going to ask you for a final bit of advice, but I think I don't know that you can beat that one. Like, I'm trying to be real cautious as well. I'm having a look. I'm like, man, that over an hour and a half, like,
yeah,
before, I'll do another hour from you. But I appreciate what you've already given me. But is there anything else you'd love to touch on tonight, or any other message you'd like to get out within our community?
Yeah. I'm just, at the moment, I just think we need a bit more consistency in the dog world. Like everyone seems to be doing their own, like, your yard blokes are kind of doing your own thing, and the cattle blokes are doing their own thing. And even if you go to if you look at the UK and the Americans, like their commands are the same, but in Australia we can't. Like we've gone past that. Like in America and the UK, if you want to train a dog, you've got to train it with a certain set of commands. So that if I buy a dog off you or you buy a dog off me, we've got the same commands. But in Australia, we don't do that.
Yeah,
and that kind of drives me insane because I'm a bit autistic, so I just don't understand that.
What are your sides?
Yeah, well, mine are over and back, but I'm changing them now.
I use left and right.
Yeah, see? And then I've got really close mates that are away and back, and their back is my over. So, we're swapping dogs and that, and it just doesn't work.
Natalie and I have this argument because I'm always messing with my dog's heads. Like, so I come back from Norway and I changed all my downs to deck.
Yeah.
And then on my Malinois, I started putting French commands.
Yeah.
And like, she's just like, can you just leave it the same? Like, you're confusing me. Like, just leave it. Like,
but
I just want to mess with them to see how intelligent they are. Like,
yeah, and that's great. Like, I love that, and I love messing with them as well. Like, I'm going to train a dog one day that I've said this for years, just for the dog schools. Yeah. I'm going to train a dog where the sides are fish and wheelbarrow.
Fish and wheelbarrow? Why fish and wheelbarrow?
For left and right, because it doesn't matter what you say.
Yeah, well, true. Yeah, that's right.
And I just think that, but it would be so much easier for us if we went that way, where everyone just had over and or like come by and away, like the UK blokes, and then you could sell dogs to over there, but you can't.
Well, you jump on an excavator and all the excavator controls are the same, right? Unless you're on a backhoe, then you got backhoe controls.
That's right. Yeah. So yeah. I just think we need a bit more consistency, and we just need to, like the level is so low. Everyone's expectations for a dog, not everyone's. Yeah. I just find in Australia the expectations for a dog are a bit low. I think we can just do a bit better.
I do.
Like we can get them breaking a bit squarer. We can get them stopping a bit harder. We can get them a bit crisper on their sides, you know. And I just think we're just a bit behind.
You think that's a bit of a culture thing? The old "she'll be right," just let it go kind of
100%.
mentality still lingering.
100%. Yep.
Yeah.
And they just, I don't need a stop on my dog. I don't know how many times I've been told that at schools and everything else. Just, you don't need a stop on a work dog. I'm like, I don't know how you can not have a stop on a work dog. You know, like what are you going to do when the cattle are going through the gateway and you don't want them blocked up? Like, or you know.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I just think, but my thing is consistency. Everything I do is consistency. So yeah, that's my only thing. It's just we could just have a bit more consistency in the dog world in Australia, and I think everyone would get a lot more out of it.
I love it. I love it. Who's gonna police and put what words we should together?
Me. Maybe. I don't know. We need someone like Paul Rowe or something. I don't know.
No, I love it, mate. I love it. Mate, thanks heaps for the yarn tonight. I really appreciate you having a yarn with you, being so open and the time you've been so gracious with your time as well, mate. Like, thanks heaps. Really, really appreciate it.
No, thanks heaps for having me on. It's been great. It's I really enjoyed it.
And I'm even going to let you go easy. Laura's not here, so I'm not going to ask you a question that's going to flip your mind. So, how about that?
Great.
But what I will say is thanks to everybody that tuned in tonight. Thanks to everybody listening back. And please remember, we learn every day. And the day we stop learning will be a sad one for all of us. Thanks, mate. And good night.
No worries. Thanks, mate.
Cheers.